ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors, Thursday, August 14th edition of the program. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. As always, if you miss any of our show, make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the Hoist the Colors 94.3 The Game channel. You can hear our podcast version there. Also, download the IBX Media app. You can hear this show, The Patrick Johnson Show, along with Talk of the Town, and so much more. As always, the comments section are open as well. We're going to have our over-under picks starting today for the ECU football team. And we're going to do position by position this year, so a little different. We're going to do our quarterback over-unders. I've set some numbers. Philip Pilkington, who is producing today's show, and myself will pick over or under those numbers based on what we think is going to happen this season. So looking forward to that. We're also going to continue our conference previews. We've got the SEC. We know you're probably tired of hearing about it, but we're going to go ahead and get it out of the way right after we did the American Conference on Tuesday. The SEC is up next. We'll do the ACC with Bobby Harward when he joins us Friday. So a stacked show. If you got anything to say, want to chime in on anything in the comments, let us know. Philip, are you ready for this power hour of information?
I'm ready for the ECU part. I guess I'm ready for the SEC part. You know, like you said, it's all we've heard from the national media for the last, well, since Bear Bryant was coaching at Alabama, so a lot longer than you and I have been alive. We've got to talk SEC football, but hey, that's, I guess, part of being in sports talk radio, whether we like it or not. We've got to give the SEC their due diligence, right?
Look, it's the cream of the crop. There's no disputing that. Although last year the national champion did not come from the SEC. There was not even a SEC team in the national championship game. So I feel like it's not just the SEC, but certainly, like, if you turn your TV on Saturday, more than likely you're going to be watching an SEC game. I will say the documentary on Netflix, I know you haven't seen it. We were talking pre-show. It's good, but the amount of just, like, I don't know, man. The homerism of the SEC is kind of sickening. So, like, we'll talk about it. There's a ton of storylines, a lot of intrigue, so we'll get into that. But I do get SEC fatigue, so I totally get it. So we'll knock it out today, move on to the next. But we're starting close to home, baby. We always start ECU. We can't have a show without some East Carolina talk, and certainly not when we are 14 days away. We're 14 days, Philip, 2 weeks from right now. We will be on game day, our game day show for Hoist the Colors. It seems kind of surreal, honestly, when you put it that way.
It really does, man. It's, you know, especially now that we know where our pregame show is going to be. We're excited about that, man. It's going to be a lot of you and I on air that day together between this show and that one. We're gonna sucker Bays and Zoki into coming on that pregame show. I'll buy them a beer or something, you know, for coming on with us. But man, I'm excited. It's finally college football. I was talking to my roommate last night. Like, when I was a kid, man, I used to get so hyped up for football about mid-July. I was missing it. And I think once I started, you know, we started getting the MLB package, and years the Sox are good, it's not as much for me. But even though the Sox have had a good summer, man, I've just been locked in the last, like, few weeks. I was pumped up for the first Panthers preseason game. I'm pumped up for week 0, and football can just not get here close enough. I'm still playing college football on PlayStation, like, every day. I am so excited, and I can tell you this new energy going on in the Pirate locker room, Blake Harrell's got a lot to do with that too.
Yeah, and I think, you know, not to go way too far from our segment here of picking over owners for doing a minute, but I really think the offseason is such a grind at times to talk about, like all the portal news and all the just the nonsense, the NIL, the rev share, that, like, once the games get here, Philip, it's just like, all right, we can finally just talk about the games and the matchups and the players and not talk about how much NIL money a guy's making or who's going where. Like, I get it that it creates headlines, does all that, but, like, the reason we got into this, man, is for the games, for the Saturdays. We didn't get into this for the drama. I guess some people did it with sports talk radio, but, like, I want to talk about the games. I want to see what happens on the field and then talk about it. So I'm just ready for that to happen.
Yeah, me too. We've talked enough about coaches' girlfriends this offseason. I'm tired of talking about somebody's girlfriend who does. She might be coaching the team anyway, so who knows? But yeah, I'm with you. Let's talk some X's and O's.
Let's do that, and let's do that with our over-unders for the quarterback position. So I've got 8 different categories for ECU quarterbacks. 4 of them are surrounding Caden Hauser, so we'll start there. So Caden Hauser passing yards. So last year he threw for 2,006 yards in 7 starts. Last season he played in 9 games total, but really those 7 starts accounted for the majority of those yards. ECU quarterbacks as a whole, I don't have the exact number in front of me, Philip, but Jake Garcia and Caden Hauser threw for around 3,400 yards combined last year. So I'm setting the over-under for Caden Hauser passing yards at 3,300 yards. Over or under?
I'm going to go over, man. He's going to have to sling it. This is going to be some high-scoring football games that East Carolina is going to play in this year, and I think there's going to be some games where we're going to have to score 6-7 times. So I'm going to go over the 3,300 yards.
And I should clarify that this is for regular season only.
Yeah, 12 games.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure because obviously when you're talking yardage, season yardage, that could be a pretty big difference there. You know, that
of course.
Right now this would have Hauser throwing 275 a game, which I feel like is reasonable for this offense. And I'm with you. I'm going over as well. I could definitely see a scenario where he goes just under, but I think he's definitely getting to that 3,200 yard mark, and then it's just a matter of, you know, how much does he have to throw? And I honestly think this year, Philip, I could see if the defense struggles at times, I could see him pushing 3,600, you know, getting near that school record just because of the need to score so many points, which often plays a big role in these
100%.
types of numbers.
That's the thing. I think I'm picking it solely because I think it's going to be shootout, high-scoring games. I think it's going to be, you know, Big 12 football from the early 2010s.
No doubt. Terry Long in the chat, he is going well over the 3,300 yards. And a lot of that, too, of course, is got to stay healthy, got to stay on the field for the Pirates. All right, second one, 28.5 passing touchdowns. So Caden Hauser threw 18 passing touchdowns last season. He had multiple five passing touchdown games. So 28.5 is it may sound a little low, but that's still, I mean, you're talking well over 2 touchdown passes a game, 2.3 a game, which again, like, I think this running attack is going to be pretty good. So how often are you throwing the ball into the end zone versus running it? So over under 28.5 passing touchdowns.
I'm going to go over. And I think the big reason that I'm going to go over here is the ability of Yannick Smith, Anthony Smith, and Jaquez Petaway to score on any given play. There are going to be some plays where, hey, man, it's, you know, we took a 2-yard loss on first down. It's 2nd and 12. Let's throw a little route over the middle here and try to get it to 3rd and 4. And one of those young men are going to stick their foot in the ground, and 65 yards later, they're going to be doing a dance in the end zone. And that's going to be the big thing that's going to get Caden Hauser over that 28 passing touchdowns. Excuse me, I don't know why I was stuck on 5. And then, like we said, late games, when you got to sling it seems like, and you're in a high-scoring shootout, those touchdowns just usually come via the pass more so than they do the run.
All right, I'm going over as well. I'm expecting a big year from Caden Hauser. I think he reaches 30 passing touchdowns or so and hits the over on the passing touchdowns. By the way, while we're talking Caden Hauser, just got a notification in my inbox from Malcolm Gray. By the way, shout out Malcolm Gray. It's his birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Malcolm Gray. Caden Hauser has been named to the Manning Award watch list. He is one of 27 quarterbacks named to the 2025 Manning Award watch list. According to an announcement by the All-State Sugar Bowl on Thursday, he is the 4th Pirate since the award's inception in 2004 to earn inclusion on the watch list, following Dominique Davis, Shane Carden, and Holton Ahlers. So, shout out to Caden Hauser. Glad he's getting some respect, man. This is about time. Like, these other watch lists, all conference lists, have not included Caden Hauser. The Manning Award watch list. Shout out to the All-State Sugar Bowl. Didn't know that they were putting this together, but I guess they know their Pirate football, Philip.
I guess they do. I guess it's the Sugar Bowl's deal because they're the bowl game of the SEC, I guess. You know, historically, that's where their bid goes.
Yeah.
Peyton and Eli both played at SEC schools, I guess. I don't know why it's them that puts it out, but hey, they're putting respect on Caden Hauser's name as rightfully deserved, and can't wait to see him lift that trophy come December.
Yeah, all it says is the Manning Award was created by the All-State Sugar Bowl in honor of the college football accomplishments of Archie, Peyton, and Eli. It is the only quarterback award that includes the candidate's postseason performances in its balloting. So when Caden Hauser is leading ECU to victory in the Sugar Bowl, then he can also get credit for that when he hoists the Man Award trophy.
Exactly.
So.
However, I'm a little worried. Could there be a little bias in it this year? Maybe we can talk about that in our next segment.
Absolutely,
but,
yeah.
I mean, it's named after three guys. Their nephew and grandson might be playing quarterback this year. We'll see.
I'm going to guess that Arch Manning is also on this list for sure. All right, let's continue on. Our quarterback, ECU quarterback, over-unders. All right, Caden Hauser interceptions. I set the over-under at 12.5. He threw 11 last season, which is a decent amount, not as many as Jake Garcia. But ECU quarterbacks as a whole last year, I want to say threw 25 or so interceptions. Like, it was a ton. So 12.5, you would expect second-year starter. That number comes down, per throw, obviously a decent amount, but isn't enough to go down to 12.5, under or over for full season.
No, it is not. I think a lot of that has to do with this offense. It's not a true air raid, but it's kind of a modified air raid, and it seemed to be a little more air raid and less RPO once Caden got into it. When you throw those deep crossing routes, you're susceptible to making mistakes. You create a lot of home run plays, but you also throw interceptions, and especially on third and long. A lot of times in this style of offense, you throw a punt one play earlier. You might throw an interception 45, 50 yards down the field, and those are the interceptions that I think you're okay with, and the interceptions that John David Baker is going to be okay with. And because he is willing to turn Caden Hauser loose, he probably throws 14 or 15 this year. And like I said, that's not a knock on the young man. I just think it's the style of offense. You see high interception numbers from guys like, Brett Favre in his career, Matthew Stafford, just because they have so much that push the ball down the field. The longer the ball's in the air, the better chance there is of somebody going out there and making a play on it.
So I'll differ from you for the first time here. I think Caden's going to be right at this number. I'm going to say 12. I think he throws one a game. I think he's going to have, last year it felt like he would throw one a game, and then he had one. I think it was a Tulsa game when he had 3. And so hopefully, in the state game, he was charged with 2. One of those was a jump ball, like you said, like you kind of take your chances. The other one was kind of a fluke. He got hit as he was throwing. I just think the offensive operation around him is going to be a little smoother from start to finish. I'm going to go with 12 on the dot. So give me the under for Caden Hauser interceptions. Caden Hauser rushing touchdowns. I set it at 5.5. He ran for 4 last season. Over under 5.5 rushing touchdowns.
I'm going to go under. I think the addition of Mike Wright is going to take some goal line touches away from Caden Hauser.
I like that thinking. That'll lead into our next over-under. I'm going to go under as well. I think he gets 4 or 5. So I'm going to go with the under as well. Mike Wright, new ECU quarterback. He's your backup. We'll see if he is utilizing any other formations. JDB has said that he doesn't want to utilize a 2-quarterback system, and so we'll see how he's employed. Rushing yards, I set it at 175. Now, he has averaged 262.6 yards rushing over his previous 5 seasons of college football. The caveat to that, of course, is he has been the number one guy for some of those seasons. Like, he's had a season where he ran for, I think, 500. He's had a season where he ran for 350. So, last year only ran for 82 as he was a backup at Northwestern after starting early in the year. So, 175 over-under rushing yards for Mike Wright.
Due to JDB's comments, I'm going to go under. Not wanting to implement that 2-quarterback system. I think he's going to do it as the year goes on. I think this team's going to have a lot of success offensively early, and a lot of the plays that they will have seen in these short-yarded situations will have shown up on film. They're going to have to dive deeper in their bag of tricks, which is going to allow more rushing touchdown opportunities for him and more things late in the season. But I think he's going to be behind the 8 ball on those yardage in early, just because I don't think we see him a lot those first 3 or 4 games. And so I'm going to go under the 275 for him.
So my thing with this with Mike Wright is when you have a number like this and he's not going to play a lot, it really comes down to, is he going to pop like that 1 or 2 big run?
Yeah, if he's got like, 180-yard run, he's probably hitting the over.
And I just think, man, his speed is like watching him at practice, I know they can't hit the quarterback, but he flies. And so I think he's going to hit a big one. I don't know when or where. I'm going to go over, and I think that big run is going to carry him to the over here on the rushing yards. All right, rushing touchdowns, Mike Wright. I said it at 2.5. He's got 11 career rushing touchdowns in 5 seasons. Over under 2.5 rushing scores for Mike Wright.
Since I went under with Caton, that's going to – the reason being, of course, I'm going to go over with Wright. I do think a lot of his rushing attempts are going to be inside the 5-yard line, keeping those yards down again, but taking him over that threshold of 2.5 rushing touchdowns.
I'm with you as well. I go over here. I think the one weakness of this offense at times is it's so vertically and horizontally based. Once you get into the red zone, you can have some challenges. Well, how do you fix that? You employ one of your best athletes on the team at quarterback. And so I think you can't get too cute with it, but I think we will see some Mike Wright red zone situations. I'm going to go over 2.5 rushing scores. Raheem Jeter games played, over under 2.5 games played. Of course, he is a redshirt sophomore now. He is technically your third-string back, or third-string quarterback, I should say, although he has been still getting some number 2 reps. How many times do we see Raheem Jeter in 2025? Over under 2.5.
I'm going to go over. I don't think East Carolina's going to blow a lot of teams out, but I think there will be a handful of games, especially late in the year, where they're up pretty big and can rotate him in. But who's to say, 2 weeks from today, if Caton does lose his helmet, that it's not Raheem for one play, just because, I think Mike's the better athlete and all those things. But if it's, hey, we've got continuity in this drive, I think you want to throw the young man in there who knows the system a little better. And John David Baker, again and again, has talked about how he has progressed as a quarterback, especially between the ears this offseason. And so I think some of those things, like I said, it's one play if your helmet comes off in college football. And if Jeter plays that one play, that counts as a game. So I think he's going to go over that, just here and there, finding time on the field.
So Jeter last year, and I do want to clarify, this is games played at quarterback because he played the final 7 games on the field goal unit. He did only play 2 games at quarterback last year, Temple and FAU. So I will say that I think it's similar. I think he's going to go 2 games on offense, and I think he's going to go just under. So I'm going to go Raheem Jeter under 2.5 games played at quarterback. And then our final pick, ECU quarterbacks that will see game action in 2025. The over-under I set at 3.5. So you would assume, of course, Caton Hauser, Mike Wright, Raheem Jeter, like we just talked about. Do we see Chasten Ditta or Cole Hodge get into a game in 2025? Over-under 3.5 quarterbacks seeing game action.
I'm going under. I do not think we see either one of the freshmen. I don't think it's a knock on either one of those young men. I think they're doing a good job at practice, but there's just so many bodies ahead of them right now. Unfortunately, in a kid's redshirt season, you do want to see him get in a game, right? But I just don't think it happens.
Yeah, I'm going under, and it's one that feels purely injury-based unless you're beating a team just like 85-0. Like, the only way you're getting your 4th quarterback in the game is if you've had an injury or 2 at quarterback. Yeah,
all 5 of them play against Charlotte because we kicked the crap out of them. We beat Georgia Tech's record of 222 points in the game. We scored 223 and beat Charlotte, and Chasten Ditta and Cole Hodge get in the game.
Sounds like you've been playing a little too much EA Sports college football. All right, we'll get a break in when we come back. We'll switch gears. We'll get into our latest conference preview, the SEC. 16 teams. We'll run through some of the top storylines and more next. This is Hoist the Colors.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
The Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo.
Yes! That was so good!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, Thursday, August 14th edition of the show. We just had our ECU quarterback over-under picks. We'll do running backs tomorrow, which should be a bit of a crapshoot given the depth of that running back room. So that'll be a tough one to set the over-unders there, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out once the season gets going. But if you miss any of our quarterback over-under picks, that will be available Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as our YouTube archive and Facebook archive as well. Okay, Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. We're about to get into our SEC preview. And I was doing some research during the break, Philip, and first off, the SEC did have a media preseason poll. They included more than 200 votes for the SEC preseason poll. Can you guess how many teams out of 16 received at least one first-place vote?
That's a lot of people. So I'm guessing a lot of those were writers for specific teams. So I think the top 7. So I think it's 7, so I'm going to guess up one of that, what it should be, and go 8. That it was obviously Georgia, Bama, Texas. I'm going to go Florida, South Carolina, Missouri, LSU, and I'm missing one who's pretty darn good. Tennessee.
You're missing a couple.
Tennessee.
Because it is 11.
Oh, my goodness.
11 out of 16 teams got one first-place vote, including the Vanderbilt Commodores, who got
what are we
multiple
doing?
First-place
multiple.
votes.
Did Whistle Guy get a vote?
Probably so. If you're handing out 200-plus votes, I know there's a lot of SEC media members, but I'm going to guess that a few of these people are not unbiased. Just a few. I've been to many SEC press boxes, and there's a lot of cheering going on, which is not supposed to be a thing for those that are unfamiliar in a working press environment.
Can you just tell me who the 5 are that didn't get first-place votes instead of rambling off the other 11 that did?
Yeah, so Mississippi State did not get a first-place vote. Kentucky did not get a first-place vote. Missouri did not get a first-place vote. Arkansas did not get a first-place vote. And Texas A&M did not get a first-place vote. So
that
Auburn, Ole Miss, Vandy, Oklahoma, South Carolina all got first-place votes.
So what you're telling me, no one actually cares about football in Columbia, Missouri, because Missouri is better than like 3 or 4 of the teams that did get first-place votes.
No first-place votes for Mizzou, but they were they were picked to finish, 12th, it looks like, out of the 16. So,
okay.
Yeah, your preseason poll, for those who have not been following, Texas is the preseason favorite, followed closely by Georgia and Alabama, LSU 4th, South Carolina 5th, Florida 6th, Ole Miss 7th, A&M 8th, and then Tennessee, Oklahoma, Auburn, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State is your projected order to finish. The problem with these 16-team conferences, Philip, is all these teams are spending just an unreal amount of money, but somebody has to be the loser. Like, so there's always going to be just these crazy fan bases that are just mad and firing people left and right. And usually that's Vanderbilt, but it doesn't like it'll be Vanderbilt, although they're still picked towards the bottom of the league. Like, they seem to have a pretty good situation. So, like, Mississippi State, Kentucky, we'll get into our last place pick here in a minute. But, like, these other schools like Auburn, Arkansas, Ole Miss, A&M, like, somebody's got to be the bad teams. You can't just – not everybody can win. And it kind of fascinates me from the outside looking in. I kind of enjoy it.
It does make it fun, right? It kind of makes it stupid because, like, also you could have, like, a really good team go, like, 8-4. But it kind of is fascinating. Like, somebody's going to be dog water. But also you could have, like, the worst team in the conference still go, like, 2-6 because you might just have a slew of teams at, like, 2-6. Because they're going to all beat up on each other, and then they'll get one win against a middle-of-the-pack team like an Auburn that they shouldn't beat.
So storylines here, we'll start with the obvious, like Texas and Arch Manning. Are you buying the Arch Manning hype? Like, is it just because like if his last name wasn't Manning, would everybody be picking Texas preseason number 1?
I mean,
like, it's pretty good pedigree, but I don't know.
It's a good pedigree. The thing is, we do have to remember he did play start 3 or 4 games last year and looked pretty good. He's got the wheels that his dad's got with the arm that his uncles have, so that helps. But no, I think look, people might not be as in hype into the quarterback. His last name wasn't Manning, but you ask me if Texas wasn't me getting hype. I mean, Texas is Texas. Texas is always going to be overhyped. Think of all those years in the Big 12 when Oklahoma was clearly the better team, and Oklahoma made the college football playoff, and people were still projecting Texas to win the Big 12. I mean, it's Texas. It's the Longhorns. It's one of the most historic programs in all of college football. You got to go back to they've started having success ever since the mid-40s. It's a national brand. So, now obviously they're competing against Georgia and Bama, not just Oklahoma, but there'd still be hype.
Georgia probably has the most. I mean, Georgia and Bama probably have the most pound-for-pound talent, but, like, is Gunnar Stockton, is he going to win you a national championship? I mean, I guess they've done it before with a subpar quarterback, but
that team did not look good last year when Carson Beck got hurt. That's all I know. That team was going to win a national championship with Carson Beck. Not that Beck's great, but didn't Stockton play last year in the playoffs?
Yeah, he did. He had to, and I'm just surprised that they didn't go out and get a quarterback. Because, like, they've got the other pieces. And
give me Caden Hauser.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather have Caden than Gunnar Stockton. We were talking about it pre-show. Oklahoma is kind of there feels like a couple of boomer bust teams here. Oklahoma feels like one of them. They bring in John Mateer and the offensive coordinator to go along with him. He's the quarterback from Washington State. And then, of course, you've got Brent Venables. We know he can coach defense. So the feeling is here, all right, let's get the defense under Venables fixed or keep it going, and then let's get the offense fixed under this offensive staff. This is almost like the same thing ECU tried with JDB and running Mike Houston back last year. It didn't work initially, and then they found their stride second half of the year after Houston was let go. I don't know, like, are you out on Venables as a good head coach at this point? I kind of have to see it to believe it, I think.
Yeah, it's not one of those where I say it can't happen, but it's one of those prove me wrong. I'm going to pick against you till you prove me wrong, and then when you do, I'll tip my cap to you. I'm not going to sit there and make excuses and say, So I don't know. Prove me wrong. Let's do it. But hey, it's Oklahoma, right? Like, Oklahoma was number 1 with Sam Bradford, and that didn't happen. And Oklahoma couldn't win a college football playoff game with Lincoln Riley. How about Oklahoma just proves me wrong? Because I'm tired of picking Oklahoma to be good and Oklahoma not being good.
Very well said. LSU feels very boomer bust. More on that in our next segment because it has a lot to do with my picks. But LSU bringing back Nussmeier, but Brian Kelly just seems like such an unlikable coach. There's no doubt they've got talent, though. Then you have this tier of Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Florida's getting a lot of hype because of, obviously, the quarterback coming back, but he's had some injury issues this preseason, DJ Lagway. Billy Napier went from being fired to being a guy who now people think they can make the playoffs. Ole Miss has a lot of unknown. New quarterback Austin Simmons taking over. The fact that they didn't go out and get a quarterback from the portal, even though I was told they may have called Caden Hauser as an insurance plan, it tells me they feel pretty good about Austin Simmons. And so you wonder what they're going to look like another year under Lane Kiffin. And then Tennessee, you had the whole Nico situation, and now they bring in Joey Aguilar from App State, who went to UCLA originally. So I don't know. Then you got South Carolina, which has a quarterback coming back as well, but has a daunting schedule. So Auburn under Hugh Freeze, there's just a lot of – there's too many storylines to name. Arkansas, you've got Sam Pittman needing to win. Missouri's always flying under the radar. It's just fascinating stuff, man. Anything stand out to you as far as storylines?
Yeah, all these teams are banking on unproven quarterbacks. I know some of these guys are coming back, right? But it's not like there's not a guy this year in the SEC maybe other than Arch. And I'm not like I said, I'm not buying into as much as some other people are, but be honest with me, who's the most proven guy? It just seems like the SEC is supposed to be stacked with quarterbacks, and right now the storyline is the fact that there are no storylines, that everybody's got a question as to who's going to come out and be able to be successful. This is going to be a gauntlet of a year, and all I got to say is I was talking to Malcolm about this the other day. Thank God ECU doesn't have any Saturday games in October, because we're ready to watch some SEC football, because this could be a bloodbath.
Yeah, you like Lagway, if he's healthy, is probably the best returning quarterback. I don't trust the A&M quarterback coming back. I know he had his moments, but I do wonder, you have Lenore Sellers at South Carolina as a proven guy. Yeah, who from these quarterbacks of the unknown emerges, and Arch Manning would seem to be a proper candidate. He's obviously one of the Heisman favorites. So we'll see. A lot of fascinating stuff with the SEC. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get a break. We'll continue this discussion on the other side. We'll do it as we make our conference picks as well. If you've got any comment or question on the SEC, feel free to weigh in as well. This is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday. We will be right back.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm.
Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
For over 51 years, Parker's Barbecue has brought families together with our award-winning whole hog barbecue and fried chicken. Tradition is important at Parker's Barbecue, and for 3 generations, the Parker's way has stood the test of time. Whether you visit our dining rooms or drive-thrus, use our on-site catering, or even use our nationwide shipping, the hospitality, barbecue, fried chicken, homemade sides are still the same.
We are the Parker family. Come in and let our family show you. This is the Parker's way.
The Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here Thursday, August 14th. We talked ECU quarterback over-unders earlier. We're now doing our SEC conference preview. Philip and I will preview every conference leading into the Week 0 matchups and maybe beyond, depending on who's playing after that. We still have to look at the schedule, but we've done the American, which we did Tuesday. Now we're on to the SEC, and let's make some picks, Philip, and we will start with our categories. Our first category is last place. So you got 16 SEC teams. Who do you have finishing in last place in the SEC?
Mississippi State. I just don't think they're very good. I don't think they've been good in a long time. I'll be honest with you, I didn't do a deep dive into this one in the schedule for everybody, but A&M will find a way to win a few games. Who knows about Mississippi State?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Mississippi State is a clear answer. The only other ones I would consider are like Kentucky. And, Stoops, it feels like it's the end for him. But let me just read you this Mississippi State schedule for the SEC. Tennessee at home, at Texas A&M, at Florida, Texas at home, at Arkansas, Georgia, at Missouri, Mississippi for the Egg Bowl. At Arkansas, maybe winnable.
8.
Yeah, that's brutal. They had the number 2 strength of schedule, according to Phil Steele, and that's with an easy non-conference schedule. So I'm going to Mississippi State as well. All right, what is your best SEC conference game of the season? There is no shortage of candidates here to pick from. What you got?
Well, this one might be a little cliche, but, cliches are there for a reason. Sorry, my thing got scrolled too far. I'm going to go September the 27th when the Crimson Tide roll into Athens to take on the Dogs. And, this probably determines who plays Texas for the championship. So I think the winner of that's in the championship. I know it's early to say September and championship till December, but first big contest for both of them in conference. I think you got to go with it.
Yeah, what an SEC opener for Alabama. They get a bye and then they go to Georgia. Georgia, meanwhile, they are also off a bye, although Georgia opens at Tennessee on September 13th. So that'll be a huge game early in the conference schedule. I have got Texas at Georgia, November 15th, for a couple different reasons here. Texas's schedule is they've got some marquee games, like they open at Ohio State, and they have to go to Florida. But, it's a pretty easy schedule outside of going to Georgia. They get Vandy at home, they get Arkansas and A&M at home, and they get to go to Kentucky and Mississippi State. So this game at Georgia feels like their real final last test, although A&M on Thanksgiving weekend, I'm sure it'll be a crazy environment. It's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. But I'm going to go Texas at Georgia, November 15th. Feels like that'll be a huge game. All right, who is your dark horse title contender in the SEC? There should be no shortage of candidates once again here.
Kind of hit at it last segment, but I'm going to go with Missouri. This is a team who really the only place don't have a lot of experience is at quarterback. They're pretty experienced on the defensive side of the ball as well as up front offensively. And taking a look at their schedule, man, they avoid a lot of the top dogs. They do have to host Bama on October 11th, but other than that, they've got South Carolina at home. They go to Auburn, go to Vandy, got A&M, got Mississippi State, go to Oklahoma, who I mean, they'll probably have already fired their coach by then, and then they finish at Arkansas. I think this is one of those things where if the top of the league beats up on each other and they squeak in somehow at 6-2 and have some wacky tiebreaker scenario, who knows if they can find a way to do it. And I think 6-2 is not out of the realm of possibility with that schedule.
I do think a lot of these dark horse title contenders that will come across in all league, you have to look at the schedule because with these unbalanced schedules, we've talked about it so much. I mean, it can make such a difference. And I'm going to go similar to mine or similar with mine. Is the schedule playing a big role here? Tennessee has got a pretty favorable schedule. It's just the unknown at quarterback. Like, I actually like Joey Aguilar as a gamer. I don't think he's that talented, but he just seems to make winning plays. We saw that at App the last number of years. They do get Georgia, but they get them at home, and they have to go to Alabama. But outside of that, it is a pretty favorable slate at Florida on November 22nd. Who knows if Billy Napier will even be coaching then with his hot seat. So I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think if Aguilar is a fit for that system, which I honestly don't know if he is, I think they've got the talent around them to have some success under Josh Heupel. So I'm going to go with the Tennessee Volunteers
Real quick,
as my
just to
dark
build
horse.
on your point, though,
Yep.
Heupel's good at changing his offense based off his quarterback. We saw it with all the injuries he dealt with at UCF. Like,
Yeah.
he knows how to adapt to the player. So,
Yep, really, really good offensive coach. So there's no doubt about that. All right, conference most valuable player. Who you got here?
get your stones, stone me, get your pitchforks ready. I'm going to go with Arch. You know, he does come from a family that has 338 NFL wins, 152,844 yards, and 1,030 touchdowns. Got to be a little bit to be said for that, but no, seriously, I just don't really trust any of the other quarterbacks in this league. There will be somebody, but again, I'm looking at this draft class. I don't really see anybody being that good out of it. It'll probably end up being him go 1-1, and I just don't think there's anybody else out of the SEC that's really going to contend for that. So I think if he's just slightly above average, he'll probably be the best quarterback in the league, and the best player usually is going to go to the best quarterback.
You can't go wrong with picking Arch. And look, I mean, I think it's as safe a pick as any, as crazy as it is to say about a first-year starting quarterback full-time. I'm going to go with Garrett Nussmeier. He comes back for his final year of eligibility, passing on a chance to go in the NFL. We saw Jaden Daniels. I'm not going to say he's going to play like Jaden Daniels a few years ago, but Jaden Daniels had a solid season, and then he came back, had a monster season the next year. You've got Joe Sloan there as the offensive coordinator, former ECU coaching candidate. I think Garrett Nussmeier has a huge year. I think the LSU Tigers surprised some folks, and I got Garrett Nussmeier, conference most valuable player. What is your championship game, Phillip?
I think Texas does make it, and then I'm going to go with the winner of the Bama-Georgia game on September 27th to be their opponent, waiting on them to get when they get there. And that game is in Athens. Stockton's got a little more experience than Simpson. Not much, because neither one of them played that much. But early in the season, I'm going to favor the home team, favor the quarterback who's had a little bit more experience. They'll have already played a conference game, like you said, against Tennessee. So I think Georgia wins that one. I think Georgia goes on to play Texas for the SEC championship game.
My championship game, I have Texas making it as well. I think they get the better of Georgia in that late season game and make the championship game. I think Georgia's conference schedule is really tough, man. Alabama at Auburn's a tricky game, at Tennessee early on, Florida neutral site, of course, and then Texas. So I'm going to go with Texas to make it. And I've got the LSU Tigers. I think their schedule is also manageable. I have LSU making the championship game. You look at their schedule, and it's definitely not easy. But they do have some favorable games. The game at Alabama will be tricky, but outside of that, they get Florida at home, at Mississippi State, South Carolina at home, at Vandy, A&M at home, Arkansas at home. I mean, there's a lot of potential wins there if they're good. Who do you have winning it?
I think that late game in the season goes to the home team Longhorns, and I think they feel a little too good and have a little bit too big of a head into them rolling into Atlanta for a home game for Georgia. And I got the Dogs taking it. Stockton gives us all false hope that he's going to be able to lead them to a national championship, only to probably lose in the quarterfinals of the playoffs like he did last year. But he's going to have to win a conference championship to get a top 4 seed probably, and I think he does it.
Give me the LSU Tigers over the Texas Longhorns. LSU feels like every handful of years they are really good. And I think this year I just have a feeling they're going to put together Brian Kelly under a lot of pressure. And I think, honestly, they're boom or bust. And I'm going to go with the boom and hope that it works out. Although if they go bust, nothing.
I think he's fired by mid-November.
That's completely possible too. I was going to bring up that point. We got a few minutes here. It's kind of interesting that there's no new head coaches amongst 16 coaches going into this season for the SEC. But, I mean, you look at it, I don't know what the situation is with Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. Like, if he has another horrific year, will they fire him? But definitely Mark Stoops at Kentucky is on the hot seat. Arkansas, Sam Pittman is on the hot seat. Hugh Freeze at Auburn on the hot seat coming off a losing year. You know, Billy Napier, definitely on the hot seat. Brian Kelly on the hot seat. And also Oklahoma's coaching situation, obviously, in peril as well. So, like, I mean, you're looking at 7 potential guys there who are on the hot seat. Now, not all of them are going to get fired. But, again, somebody has to be the bad team here, Philip. And at least 3 or 4 of these guys are getting canned.
I think
if not more.
Yeah, I think it's going to be somewhere around that number. Like you said, there are a lot of guys there that I think, though, there are some guys that 6 or 7 wins could still get them canned. I think maybe the exception to that might be Hugh Freeze. I think Auburn is a little sympathetic, even in the era of the portal, to the situation because they could not stand Brian Harsin, and they view that Brian Harsin set the program back so many years, even though Cadillac came in there as the interim and had a little success that season. But I think they maybe have a longer leash for Hugh Freeze than some of these other teams. But and then another guy is, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the guy at A&M. If they have a bad year, I think that could be another one that's kind of, I don't know if he's hot seat, but like, you know, if they only win 5 games, or yeah. Oh no, it is Elko. That's right. No, he'll be fine. Because they brought him in last.
Unless they just have a horrific year.
Yeah, I don't know why I was blanking on that he was the guy. I forgot that he had taken over there just last year. I was still thinking that the previous dude was there.
Jimbo?
Was it Jimbo before Elko? I thought there was somebody in between.
I think it was.
Oh man.
I think Jimbo was that recent.
Yeah, maybe he was. I could have sworn there was somebody between the two, but I guess not. So, yeah, Elko's not totally on the hot seat, but I mean, if they only win 4 games or something, he could be. But, I mean, when they brought him in from Duke, they knew it wasn't going to be this seamless transition.
Yeah, I mean, in the SEC, though, things can change so quickly. I mean, if Alabama has another subpar year, DeBoer could be on the hot seat. I mean, like, it's just there is so much pressure to win. And, like, at those schools like Bama, Texas, Georgia, you're expected to be in the playoff. Like, if you're not in the playoff, it is a major failure at worst.
I mean, they're at the point where it's almost like Marty Schottenheimer with the Chargers. Like, you might lose 2 games. If you get beat in the playoffs, they don't care. Your rear end can be gone. You're going to win a national championship once every minimum 3 or 4 years.
All right, final SEC question, and we'll get a break in. So Vanderbilt last year had a pretty magical year for their standards. Their over-under is at 4.5. They do have Diego Pavia back with that JUCO ruling or whatever. Are you buying in that they're going to like be able to recreate last year's success? Or I don't know. Like, I kind of wonder if they just fall back to being Vanderbilt. I'm looking at the schedule now. At VT, at South Carolina, at Bama, LSU, at Texas, Auburn at home, at Tennessee. Do they make a bowl game, you think?
They beat Charleston Southern. If they're good,
that VT game feels important.
Yeah, I think the VT game is going to almost set them up, right? Like, they should beat Georgia State. They should beat Utah State. But when you look at this conference slate, they should beat Kentucky. So that's 4 right there. So I think the VT game puts them at 5. But if they win the VT game, they'll have the confidence to find another win in there, whether it be Auburn, whether it be Missouri. But if they don't win the VT game, I mean, saying they're going to win 2 more, I think that's a little tough.
Big swing game, so looking forward to seeing if Clark Lee can continue that success at Vandy. All right, we'll get our final break in. We'll come back. Jim has a question about Mike Wright we'll address to wrap up the show after this.
Turn your car into cash at Greenville Toyota. Cash in your trade-in today. Then get new Camry just $249 a month. Or drive a new RAV4, $319 a month. At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Cash in your trade-in at Greenville Toyota. Get a huge offer when you trade. Then save big on a brand new Corolla, just $229 a month. Or get a Tacoma, just $319 a month. Secure your Toyota now at Greenville Toyota.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here, Hoist the Colors. Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. Couple comments before we get out of here. Cameron says some of these coaches just are not going to be able to handle this rev share era on the Netflix SEC documentary. Brian Kelly's agent is also the agent for most of his players. It is just not going to work out well for these older fashioned coaches. And too much money means less players buy into the program once tough times hit. Yeah, I agree, Cameron. I mean, great points. Yeah, they did have that segment, Philip, again on the show where like Brian Kelly was talking to his agent about one of his players and how much money he was making, and it was just bizarre. And like I do think more than ever, the starts of these seasons are critical to watch. Like in Oklahoma, like in LSU, like LSU at Clemson feels vital week one because if LSU wins that game, to me they're a national title contender. If they lose that game, it's like they're on end of season watch for me. Like is their locker room going to fold?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's so mental, right? Like. We can go back there and just list example after example in football, whether it be college or pro, where it's like one game early in the season. Well, if it would have went the other way, how would that have changed the trajectory of the season? And, the thing is you got FCS games and you got some other just bad out-of-conference teams to turn it around. But still, unfortunately, it seems like when you lose that game, you come in flat to your first big-time conference game. So, it's tough. You got 18 to 23. Well, hell, now you got like 27-year-olds out there because, years of eligibility, right? But I don't know. It's a lot different having them buy in after a tough loss than it is, an NFL guy, so who's 28, 30 years old. So we'll see. But yeah, that one's definitely one to keep an eye on week 1.
Jim wants to know, could Coach John David Baker secretly have packages planned for Mike Wright this season? He says, for instance, what if NC State is preparing for Hauser? Then in comes Mike Wright running all over the field. He can sling it too. I mean, if he secretly had a plan, he wouldn't tell us. He has said on the record he expects a 2-quarterback system to not be the route he goes, and we'll just have to wait and see. But I do think, like, if from what I've seen in practice, Hauser in this offense is just like rolling along. Like, to me, the last thing you want to do, Phillip, is just take him out just to provide another look. Like, there has to be a reason for it.
Yeah, there does, and I get what he's saying with 2-quarterback system, but is Mike Wright a second quarterback, or is he a wildcat? Running back, and the Wildcat is obviously something that's been a part of college football and pro football for a long time, all the way back to Dan Henning being at Arkansas. So I still, like I said, if it does happen, I think it happens later in the year, but would it shock me that this is all just coach speak to keep the opponent in the dark? No, it wouldn't shock me that way either.
And practice has been closed for a lot of this preseason camp, so it's really hard to say. And, I mean, it's probably a good thing because ECU wants NC State wondering about that. They want them having to prepare for every scenario, just like NC State has closed a lot of its practices as well. They could have some things up their sleeve. That's the fun thing about season openers. You just never know what you're going to get. All right, we will get – I should say we're out of time. We're not going to get a break in. We're going to take a 23-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 noon. Bobby Harward will join us. We'll preview the ACC. We'll also talk ECU running backs over under. Shout out to Phillip. Great work today. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Get a recap of this show